Last time on Almost Heroes.
We picked up attempting to reach the entrance of the Ebon Depths to reunite with Dozer and Scraps. On our way, a powerful wail of agony rumbled through the tunnels, causing an earthquake that collapsed the tunnel to the entrance and seemingly trapping us inside the depths. Sensing a shimmer of magic in the air, Rangrim cast Detect Magic, discovering that the entire room was cloaked in illusion magic. Now able to see past the facade, we discovered that the entire compound was actually a temple to Torog, and painted across the walls in blood were the same red hand symbols that had appeared in Tin Town. Deciding the path across the water was too dangerous, we traveled back down the tunnel where we had met Doc and continued further, discovering Doc's laboratory workshop. The laboratory had been built for a combination of artificing and necromancy and seemed to have been used to create some sort of monstrous armored golem, as well as an attempt at some sort of brain containment device. After successfully taking a long rest, we continued down the tunnel, discovering a wall and a door covered in spikes. Udak revealed that this door led to the private quarters of the last remaining brother, Alton One-Eye. After discovering the floor was trapped, Glenn was able to open the door but narrowly escaped death in the form of a powerful necromantic trap. Once inside the humble bedroom, Rangrim found a small journal belonging to Alton. It recounted the life of the three brothers, Willie, Doc, and Alton, as servants of Torog, their entrapment within this temple when Torog fell, and the desperate experiments of Doc on himself and his brothers to keep them alive, in one form or another. After turning over the entire room in frustration, Rangrim went to leave and was confronted again by the form of the spectral mind flayer that had given him the symbol on his hand. And that is where we left off.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bobby. And with that, that brings us to episode 27, One-Eye. So, we pick up with the Almost Heroes leaving Alton's chambers and Rangrim coming face to face with the spectral mind flayer. It's amazing what mortals will sacrifice for a bit of power. Isn't that right, Rangrim?
I sacrifice nothing, you liar. And Rangrim is gonna just, in tow, pull up his hammer, and he's running full tilt at this spectral figure to just try and hit him directly in the face.
Okay, I need for you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Wonderful. What could go wrong, right?
We can't see the spectral form, right?
No.
So you're just yelling and running.
So I rolled a 2, so that would be a 5.
That's
a
a 9.
7.
You get +4 for me.
So
Oh, I do. So that actually makes it an 11.
Oh, well, that totally still does not save.
Fails. Cool.
Rangrim, you grab your hammer and take about one step forward, and the spectral figure puts their hand up, and the eye symbol on their own hand that shines in this bright color that matches same as yours, and holds it up, and you just freeze in place, completely frozen, like this, one step forward. Which I will say is probably a good thing, because there were about 6 or 7 different tiles there that would have activated with spike traps from behind you.
Oh yeah, Glenn got messed up by some fun traps. So
Rangrim
knew that when he ran through.
True, fair. But yeah, so you take about one step and are frozen in place with your hammer still up in the air. So, what does Cosmo and Glenn do when they see this?
Rangrim, you okay? You seem a little stiff.
Rangrim, you can still.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's just standing there.
Guys, help!
Cosmo just like moves up to him, and he's got his mace out or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, look, I mean, do you just want to put this down? Like, do you just what? How can I help you, mate?
So Cosmo, the second that you put your hands on Rangrim, you can see the spectral form of the mind flayer standing in front of you as well at the end of the hallway.
Oh.
Yeah, yep.
Right, well then, I guess it's time, right? And Cosmo just pulls out his weapons. He's like, well, you must be the one that's been messing with me friend here.
Well, his daughter has been a useful tool in achieving our goals.
You're the only tool in this room.
You seem familiar, young dwarf.
Who are you guys
Might you-
talking to?
You seem familiar, young dwarf. I believe I've met your father in the past.
I wouldn't do that if I was you. And you just see Cosmo's hammer just start to glitter with electricity.
Well, it seems that he got what was coming to him in the end anyway.
Right and Grim?
Yeah, so, I am going anywhere, obviously.
Do a Constitution saving throw, Rangram.
Yeah, guys, there's like nothing in here. It's just a bunch of paperwork. It's like
Natural
a weird
20.
room.
Yes. So, Rangram, you, whether it was from the anger or reaction to what he said about Regalia, or just your anger of not being able to move, you are able to fight through this. It seems like the hand symbol in Cosmo, you would see this, like his hand symbol that's holding his hammer, the symbol of the eye that's going red hot on his hand, it kind of like flickers and fades. And as that fades, Rangram, you feel yourself continuing to be able to move forward. What do you do?
I yell right at the spectral figure, I'll show you the price of my power, as I just continue to try and hammer down that one attack.
Okay. Are you running straight across the floor?
Yes. I have
Okay.
no idea the trap arrangement at this point, so yes.
I need 2 dexterity saving throws from you.
Oh,
I think it was-
Rangrim's very bad at those.
You got
that's
me.
That's a 12.
Okay.
+4.
Then that's a 7. Okay, so a 16 and an 11.
Okay. So you only activate one of them.
Oh, good.
So you get basically porcupined in the back as this wall shoots from like a higher place, and just these spines, like one of them misses you and kind of pings across the floor and ricochets out into the hallway. But the other one just kind of like, you see this, Cosmo, these like maybe 3 spines just kind of shoot from behind Rangram and just kind of pelt him and are sticking straight out of his back as he runs and charges this spectral form. Roll your attack, Rangram. You take 6 damage, by the way.
Ouch. So that would be a 17. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me. I haven't made a regular melee attack in a while. That's a 16.
Okay. I assume that your weapon is not magical. Did you enchant it today?
I did not. So technically, it is not magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance.
So you swing this and you hit true, but there is no resistance as you basically barrel straight through the spectral figure and end up on the other side of them, about right here.
What are you guys yelling about?
Glenn, this might sound weird, but come touch me shoulder.
Not if you paid me. Just kidding, man. I'll run up behind him and just pat him on the back. What's up, bud?
While they're doing that, Rangram is still just like aggravated and like thrashing through the spectral figure, trying with all of his might to hit it.
What's wrong with that guy?
Yeah, so to Glenn, Rangram's just swinging through thin air.
I exist only by the grace of our shared benefactor now, neither alive nor dead. More of memory given form.
That explains nothing to me, as he's like still trying to just smash it.
Can you see the mind flayer, Glenn?
Yes, you can see the mind flayer.
Yes, I can see the mind flayer.
That's right. Well, shoot it.
Happily. Is it my turn? Are we doing turns?
Yeah, sure, go for
Love
it.
to take a shot at him.
Everyone gets a shot. And you get a shot, and you get a shot.
And you get a shot. Is he engaged since he's talking shit to Rangram?
He's technically looking at both of you. So he's not engaged because Rangram is just swinging from behind him, trying to hit this form that he can't hit. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, that's not good. It's an 11 to hit?
Nope.
It doesn't hit.
That does not. That shoots way wide and barely misses Rangram on the other side of him, who's angrily swinging through him.
I did my best. Good luck, Rangram.
There were many more of us once, decades ago. But your father saw to that, young dwarf. Not that I blame him, I suppose.
Cosmo just like points his hammer at him and he just says, "You shut your mouth." And he has to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah. Let's go.
Whoo! 18 plus 3 is 21.
Now that'll do it.
Actually, you might even have better. Oh, plus 6.
Yeah, well, you tried. Can't blame a
Close
guy.
one.
And Cosmo is just gonna run at him now, like straight across in the same path as Rangrim did.
Okay, give me 2 dexterity saving throws.
Oh wait, don't forget about.
That is a dexterity saving throw is gonna be a 16 and a 16.
Okay, both of those do make it just narrowly. You are running across these tiles and are lucky that Rangrim already activated them before you. You happen to step on the same 2 as you're bounding across these things. Maybe it's the similar length and legs. Who knows?
Who knows? And Cosmo, with just this electrifying war pick, is just gonna come swing up on this mind flayer.
Roll an attack.
So that's going to be a dirty 20 and a dirty 24.
Believe it or not, both those are going to hit.
Is he undead or fiend?
No.
Okay, all right. He takes 36 points of damage.
Wow. Yes. So you hit them with this attack, and it does something that I don't think you've seen ever before. It's not how ghosts react. It's not how any kind of creature reacts. You hit through this form, and it only feels like half resistance. You kind of go through it like almost like water, and you get to the other side of this with your hits, and the form is still there, but it's like the parts that you hit with your hammer and came through have been like, it's just completely erased. They're completely transparent at that point. So the form is still standing there, and there's now a big swath of, there's no form there anymore.
What is your purpose, muck?
You feel a probe going into your mind, Cosmo, and it's a similar feeling to one that you felt before when you've been incapacitated by this same mind flayer without knowing that it was this same mind flayer. But you feel it now. You can feel like a force kind of, not just you in your own mind. Stoneheart. Yes, that was the name. He destroyed our colony of mind flayers and put myself in this sorry state. And as he's saying this, Cosmo, you're flashing back. You're flashing back to the memory that you had when you were fighting down in the tunnels, of another fight down the tunnels, where a multitude of dwarves were fighting these burrowing creatures, and you see this mind flayer walking out of the dark, lifting its hand with this symbol of the eye on it. And then you see your father, this memory or whatever it is of that occurrence, looking over to the side, seeing a pile of blasting powder and lighting it and blowing the entire tunnel apart. And you are going through this again, it kind of washes over you, and you feel kind of just like this complete like mental drain. But as I said, he got his in the end, didn't he?
Well, at least he took out as many of you buggers with him as possible. He died with honor. You died a bug.
It's no matter. Our work is nearly done, and we shall return more powerful than ever. Thanks in part to your friend here and his immensely talented daughter.
She's not that great.
Not unless I have something to say about it.
Well, no matter. I suppose I'll leave you to your doom. And the form dissolves in front of you.
Rangrim, you okay?
Rangrim is just smashing the ground where that form like stood, just like feverishly cursing under his breath in common, undercommon, abyssal, and deep speech. Literally every language that he can speak, he's just shouting swear words as he's just smashing the ground where that form stood.
Cosmo just puts his arm kind of on his shoulder. He says, well, looks like he took family from both of us. We'll get him.
Something's gonna die.
And it's him.
Lynn walks over while avoiding the traps. Be-do-do-do-do. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I'd keep beating up the dirt. I've done it before. I stabbed a bookcase earlier. You saw it. It was crazy. Sometimes you got to get those physical releases out. It'll make you feel better. And I stab the dirt in solidarity.
Well, whatever else is here, it's gonna die. This Alton prick seems like he's gonna deserve what's coming to him, and something is gonna deserve what's coming to him.
Let's go.
Two
Give it
down,
to
one
him.
to go, right?
What?
Is that UX? Do we hear, there was like painful moaning earlier. Do we still hear that? Is there still like the bellowing of sorrow?
Roll me a perception check.
An auditory perception check?
Mm-hmm.
That is an 18. Wait, no, 16.
Yeah. So with your kind of your with your earwig and like with your like your hearing, your more adept hearing than the others, you can hear that there's still the kind of like constant like rumbling that seems to be from a distance, and then there is like that low like wail of agony that just from time to time you can barely hear it, but it is in the distance as well.
Does it sound like it's coming back from the entrance, or does it sound like it's coming from like the room that we just came out of directionally?
Directionally, it seems like it's coming from, it's echoing down the tunnel towards the entrance, I guess, but that direction to your left.
Okay. Well, I think it's time we put the third brother out of his misery, yeah?
All right, let's go. And Cosmo just like gets up and just starts walking.
Udak, Tardan, you coming with? You sitting this one out?
Yeah, the hell was that? You guys were like fighting nothing. You've beaten that ground into absolute pulp. I assume that you saw something that I didn't, maybe.
Just fighting our emotions, man. Fighting our emotions. Well, let's go. Start walking with Cosmo.
Okay. Yeah, so you all are heading. So if you go back towards the entrance, you can just kind of like coalesce in that chamber where it kind of all the tunnels seem to meet together. Is that where you're headed?
Yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Okay. I'll say that you are able to pretty much make it down that hallway without any issue. You're kind of walking down it, and aside from like the small like dust and pebbles and small rocks that are falling from the ceiling from time to time, you are able to pretty much make it there without much issue. And you kind of come to this chamber that has been, half collapsed with the entrance tunnel falling in. But yeah, what would you like to do?
Do we see any more of the crazy people?
You do not. The only one that wasn't in that hallway when it collapsed was the Boulder Fist guard that ran off into the purple mushroom zone. So, which you guys have not actively looked into at this point.
Cosmo just is just feeling super aggro, and just like they all like stopped at the center, and he just like keeps walking towards like the purple room with the mushrooms. Let's go.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna find this guy. I'm gonna kill him. So,
yeah, go for it.
So I'm walking down into this mushroom space.
Okay, so as you're walking into this area with these mushrooms, you've been in there before, and there's a light luminescence, like bioluminescence of this like purple. Again, these mushrooms are very large, and they seem to be almost like petrified. They're almost like crystalline when you're touching them. They don't seem to be organic, but they are also have grown out of the wall very clearly. Rangrim, will you are you following Cosmo there as well?
Yeah, I'd be following Cosmo at this point.
Okay, your passive perception, as you're walking through this room, you're starting to notice something that you didn't notice before, which is that there seem to be veins of this black opalescent metal ore that is in the walls, and the mushrooms seem to be growing along these veins that are very similar to that metal that you found in Doc's chambers.
So these like weird crystalline mushrooms seem to be growing from these veins.
They seem to follow the natural vein of the ore that's in the wall.
Sick.
Glenn and Udak are going to watch the entranceway to this purple chamber in case any crazies start running that way.
Sounds good. How far are you venturing into this chamber, Cosmo?
I mean, he's just like walking through. He's pissed. He is aggro as get out. Like, he may even come across like a big mushroom and just like smash it. Like,
okay. Yeah. So I think that you do that to like a mushroom or two, and they just shatter. Like you hit them, and they break like glass, almost like a big chunk of glass. And it's like maybe your legs get cut up a little bit, or like kind of hits your arms or whatever. But nothing really happens. They just kind of fall on the ground, and then they just continue to be got like bioluminescing in pieces on the ground. And so as you're walking through, it kind of drops down a couple times. There's a couple different tiers. You can see that this room, you're noticing that it doesn't seem like the entrance to this tunnel seems to be the end of the actual temple. Like, this has been carved out from where the temple wall probably was. You haven't been in this chamber since you were able to actually see where the temple was, but it seems like there is a temple chamber, temple tunnel, and then it kind of stops completely, and then it's just like rough cut, poorly done mine at that point. And this mine is, you can just see the opaline kind of black ore in the walls, and then the bioluminescing mushrooms. And it kind of drops, tears down a couple times, and seems to go around a corner to your left.
as I come around the corner, what do I see? Is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, so you come around the corner, and you basically see this like slight, like, it kind of drops down into water. And once it drops down into water, you can see a form of a figure that is standing and this is kind of like at the edge of your dark vision. So it's kind of, you can just see basically outline silhouette shapes, but it seems like a form that's about humanoid size standing in front of a much larger form that probably stands like 8 feet tall.
Cool. So he kind of walks down to where the water's edge, and he would just say, "You there? What are you doing?"
You get no response. As you're getting closer, though, you can see that the garb they are wearing is very similar. It's been very matted and very just ripped apart and is very dirty at this point, but this is the garb of a Boulder Fist guard.
Oh, interesting. And there's just like another person shape behind him, is that?
So as you're getting closer, you're seeing that there is this female form that is this kind of like giant domineering figure that is standing kind of above this form with like a massive multi-headed whip and just these big spikes coming off of her shoulders. And it seems to be made out of stone.
Got it. Okay. How deep is the water look?
The water is, they're only standing about knee deep in this water.
Okay. And recognizing that it was a Boulder Fist garb, he would kind of like maybe come down and just be like, "Oh, you're one of the gods." And he's just like walking out in the water towards him. It's me. It's Cosmo from Tin Town. Just calling out to the guard.
So they don't seem to react to you at the speed which you would think that they would. It's almost like there's a delay, and that delay is kind of unsettling. And they kind of just turn around, their eyes completely black, and they just kind of look at you, and then they begin to walk towards you. What do you do?
And he's just kind of like, I don't want to hurt you. What is this?
They continue to walk towards you. They're getting
Rangrim
about 10 feet
still
away.
following behind Cosmo. So I'm sick of this. And Rangrim is going to smash the guy directly in the face with his warhammer.
Roll an attack. I have their HP.
17.
Right. Yes, that does hit.
Yeah, Udax, it was hilarious. So Poe pooped directly into Cosmo's eye from like 300 feet up. It was this snipe. I've never seen anything like it.
And that is a whopping 7 damage.
Ooh. So you smack your hammer down across this guard's face and like knocking their helmet just like straight into the wall. Like their head goes sideways and their helmet just ricochets off the wall, and revealing that this guard is one maybe you've seen from time to time, but it's not like someone that you've interacted with a ton. It's not Gary
or Greg.
Thank God.
I'll say it's a half-dwarf figure. I believe they're called a mule in D&D, but it's a half-dwarf figure with kind of like shoulder length, like dirty blonde hair. And they kind of fall sideways in the water and are kind of picking themselves up and are looking at you now with like this same level of ferocity and viciousness that you saw the other ones look at you with when there was aggression shown. And what's up?
No, go ahead.
He dives at you, Cosmo.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry. Actually, it would be Rangrim because Rangrim was the one that showed aggression.
When he tries to dive at Rangrim, Cosmo just tries to put him in like a strength hold. Just tries to grab him.
Let's do a grapple check.
Grapple check. And go. Ooh.
Show this crispy nat 1 to the camera.
Oh, sick. Okay, cool. I was like, it's either a nat 1 or a nat 20 coming up.
No, it was definitely nasty.
Yeah, okay, good. So, because I rolled a 24.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, so you're able to grab this thing by the throat as it dives past you to hit Rangrim, and you're now holding it in a pretty solid hold.
I'm gonna just try and like dig deep, and I'm just trying to like put it unconscious, like just trying to suffocate it, not kill it, but yeah.
Roll me a straight up and down d20.
Okay. Nat 20.
Holy shit. Yeah,
You killed him by mistake.
No, I will say that because it's a nat 20, you get to make that decision, and you don't want to kill them, so you're not going to. You're able to press this thing, and it's struggling, it's freaking out, but it also was pretty weak because of Rangrim's hit. It was almost in the ground. So you're able to hold this thing and feel it struggling for a bit, but you're able to put on the right pressure points to know that you have put them to sleep and not killed them, and they fall kind of just unconscious, slumped kind of waist deep now in the water with their head against the wall, not in danger of falling underneath the water, but just unconscious in the water at this point.
Right.
Put him to sleep, put him down in the water, and he drowns. I don't want to kill him, drowns.
Just let him drown.
That'd be a Glenn thing to do. Just kind of kick him over as you're leaving and let him drown.
Didn't say I didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
I just
guys,
said
he's
I don't
totally
want to kill him.
safe. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Well, that's out of the way. What's with this statue thing?
Roll me religion checks, both of you.
Religion checks. Well, I already wasted my nat 20. So let's.
And Rangrim, you get advantage on this.
Damn it. Oh, not too dirty. Religion. It's a 15. Same.
Okay, so I'll say that both of you recognize this, but for different reasons. Cosmo, you recognize this figure from just your studies. Studies into religion and the history of, the past deities that have ruled in Sakal and in this realm. Whereas Rangrim, you recognize this because it was well known within the Duergar. This is Leviatar, the Maiden of Pain. And it was a favorite of the Dark Elves as well as the Duergar.
Well, saying something to this bitch here is very good.
Well, I mean, do we want to just leave it? Clearly this isn't Alton. We could just turn around and stomp our way down the other hallway and find it. What's the significance?
Significance, it depends on who's reading it. I'm already thinking of other things. Rangrim's halfway down the hallway, dragging the Boulder Fist guard by his foot, and he has very clear intentions on what he's about to do.
Rangrim, leave the guard.
Well, he's fine. I'm doing something. I got a thing.
Don't kill him.
I'm not going to kill him. I promise. I won't kill him.
So as Rangrim's dragging the body out, he just overhears Glenn talking to Udak's like, yeah, he's like really into those donkeys. I don't actually know what's going on there, but they're really sweet. They kind of grow on you. It's kind of like that that like too ugly that you can't find it adorable, you'll grow to like them.
I would say that I
Just
love
don't
to
touch
pet
them.
them, but
He will actually kill you.
no.
Don't touch them. Oh, you really shouldn't touch them.
Yeah, I'm really afraid that if I touch them, I might give them a too clean of a haircut, I think.
I've actually tried to kill his daughter, and he was more upset about those donkeys. So I would stay away from it.
It's
Maybe he
fair,
can make you
fair.
like some metal hands, and you can.
He actually doesn't. He actually doesn't look very happy right now. Do you need to go talk to your friend?
I'm gonna go ahead and watch this one play out, and just kind of like takes a step back to let Rangrim drag the body past him.
Rangram continues to drag the body past him and walks directly over to the body of water and be like, I said I wasn't going to kill him, and I'm going to throw his body in again and just watch what happens.
Yeah, so
Wow.
just like as before, Rangrim, you walk up to this, you drag this unconscious guard up to the edge of the water, and you give them a good solid toss, get them in there probably a good 5-6 feet easy, and they splash into the water and kind of float there for a very short period of time before you see this mound of water that's rising up, this wave running backwards up the water that seems to go underneath them, and then you see this body get torn down underneath the water enough to, basically bend them into a pretty sharp U shape in the wrong direction. And then you just see splashing, and then you just see ripples, and then you don't see anything. You do see a shape beneath the water that you would probably take to be the form of the body. And you see it get pulled pretty rapidly down to your right-hand side through the water, on the low in the water. And it seems like it gets a little bit deeper as it goes that direction.
Well,
After seeing this, Glenn walks up behind Ranger, like right to Rangrim's shoulder, and just kind of whispers to you, like, that wasn't natural. You good, bud?
I thought that was happening. Honestly, I just kind of wanted to chuck a body in this river, but I thought this was going to happen again. We've exhausted all our other options. We got to get across this water, but clearly it's trying to kill everything.
well, seeing
And
as
we can't throw anyone else in it. And he turns and looks at Tarden for a minute.
Hey, why is he looking at me like that?
And then he just
Tarden-
turns and looks back to Glenn and shrugs.
well,
Tarden,
Rangrim,
I'd,
seeing
maybe
as
stand back.
I told you not to kill the god, I think you should be next.
I didn't kill the god. Clearly, the water killed the god. I kept my word.
On a technicality, he's right.
Fine. Well, we just need to cross the water. Is that it?
I think so. You can go first. Your mom told me you were real good at swimming.
Right. Well, then let's go. And the water, how deep does it look?
So it's about kind of breast high for you, and it's about waist deep for Glenn.
Right.
As Cosmo like starts to walk towards it, just puts a hand on his shoulder, and the old man had to be able to, or the old dragonborn had to be able to walk back and forth somehow. I found this on his body. Why don't we just try this first? And I take out the pouch of dust that he had on his body, and I just take a sprinkle of it and I throw it into the water.
So I think you probably have the spell in front of you. What does that do, Glenn?
You can use an action to sprinkle a pinch of it over water. The dust turns a cube of water 15 feet on a side into one marble-sized pellet, which floats or rests near where the dust was sprinkled. The pellet's weight is negligible.
So
Someone
it's
can use the
15
action
feet.
to, 15-foot cube.
Cool.
It's pretty fucking big.
You throw this dust in there. I like the idea that you didn't know what it was going to do, and you throw this dust in the water, and it just like the water in the area just kind of all seems to get absorbed into this like little in like significant point, just kind of like and pulls in, and the water on the other side, because this is a river flowing to your right, and so all the water on that side, it seems to like immediately kind of like it gets a little bit lower, and the water's all gone for a second in your area, and you can just see like a pretty stony bottom onto this this waterway that's, like I said, only about 3 to 4 feet deep, and then the water from the tunnel, the source of the water, flows past again. I assume pushing that capsule down.
Yeah.
down the waterway.
So 2 things. Do we see anything, or is it just like the ground all of a sudden?
It was just the ground. I will say, when you do that though, roll me a perception check.
Not well. 11.
Okay. You notice that there seems to be a slight mound of water, a wave that it seems to be running in the wrong direction. That seems to be kind of headed back up towards your direction.
Okay. And as like I see the pellet just start to get washed away as like the water fills back, I'm going to cast Mage Hand and grab that pellet.
Okay.
And I'm going to just bring it back to me because it's 30 feet. I imagine I'd be able to catch it in time.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's like when I see the wave. Like I'm like tracking it with the Mage Hand. I grab it and I kind of see the wave in the distance goes.
Yeah, and so it's probably about 30 feet at this point, but it's running kind of. There's just a wave running the wrong direction towards you.
Well, boys, I think we have an option to cross. I think we're gonna have to sprint if we're gonna try to make it across without whatever the hell that thing was. And with the Mage Hand, I'm like pointing finger guns at the wave that like is now kind of like mellowing out with the river. So I don't actually see a form in there, so this might be some magic that I haven't quite read up on yet. We might want to make these moves quickly.
Right. Well,
ready to use those little dwarf legs of yours?
I'm a natural born sprinter.
Very lethal over a short distance.
Very lethal.
Glenn, you're standing on the edge of this water, and you see this wave kind of that was heading towards you, and then it kind of goes below the surface. And then Rangrim, you see a big chunk of the water lift up out and grab Glenn and pull him into the water. Glenn, I rolled a natural 20 to attack you. That's going to be 13 bludgeoning damage as you are pulled into the water.
Doubled.
Okay, no, so that's only 18 damage. As you are pulled into the water and are now currently being grappled and suffocated. You see Glenn, who is basically being held in the water, and this mound, this globe of water is directly like kind of just holding Glenn in the water. And you see this snake-like watery head coming off of him. Think of like when they make the cranes out of the towels, they have like the kind of top part coming off. Glenn, you are encapsulated within this weird water that just seems to be holding you in this globe with this head coming off of it. So it's basically just this like globe of water with this like snake head coming off of it. And yes, what does everyone do?
So
Rangrim immediately says, "Not today, stupid water," and enlarges himself using his Durgar magic and reaches down to grab Glenn and try and pull him away from the water.
Give me a strength check with advantage, Rangrim.
Yes, so I do have advantage on strength saves and checks. Thank God for that. That is a 17.
So you grab Glenn with your enhanced size and just are able to rip Glenn out of this water. And the water, like, it doesn't feel like normal water. There's like a lot of resistance there. It's almost like just like the surface tension after you're able to pierce through it and pull him out. Glenn, you're like probably pulled kind of backwards like this as you're being pulled out by Rangrim. Your face is kind of like pulled through this water pressure. And now you are absolutely soaking wet, but Rangrim has you in his arms. And
so as I'm being pulled out, I would have cast another pinch or another like handful of that dust of dryness into the element.
Okay, so you throw this dust onto this thing of water, and just as before, the water just like literally goes whoop, and is pulled into the single point, and you can't see emotion from a water elemental, but if it could show it, it would have, because within a second, basically, it ceases to be as you pull all the water into this point, because as it says on here, water bound. Water weird dies if it leaves the water to which it is bound, or if the water is destroyed. This thing is gone. And with that, the water like completely disappears from the area again, and like you have lowered the water level further down, and then the water just kind of starts picking back up, and the water level starts raising again.
I pat Rangrim on the shoulder. You can let me down now. And I mage hand.
Rangrim's still just like holding him like this, like abnormally large for Rangrim. Like he's like the same height as Glenn. He's like Why didn't you do that on the first time?
I was thinking the same thing.
And I grab the dust, the second bead of water, and I just trudge along across. I don't even like make another 15-foot cube for him. I just keep walking because I'm already wet. And I just cross the way.
Make me a perception check, all of you.
I perceive...
Dirty 20.
Oh, better than me.
Rangrim and Glenn, you hear just that cry of agony again, that wail and that rumbling, and it is getting stronger and louder, and it's coming from down the waterway to your right.
Are you guys coming?
And you see just like rocks and dust falling down and splashing into the water as you're kind of heading, like as you're looking down this pathway. But it's coming from from where the water was naturally flowing.
So you over here?
Yes.
Well, maybe we go check some of this out. And Rangrim is still enlarged, so like the same height as Glenn for at least the next minute. And he's just kind of like bumping shoulders with him. What do you think? And like nudging him.
I think we need to make it across and keep going, no? Do you want to go down the waterway? I mean, I don't think you guys are necessarily going to be able to trudge along very well.
What do you mean? I'm just as big as you are.
It's a good point. Maybe our shorter friends.
Yeah, Cosmo. And then he just shoves Cosmo. Like a very playfully bullying shove.
Cosmo's just like, he's back in his aggro mode and is ready to just stomp around.
Okay. Yeah, so are you going through the tunnel? So the tunnel ahead of you as you've gotten across this water is, you can see that there's the like bioluminescent color that is similar to the ones that you've seen on the mushrooms on the other side. But it's like this cyan, like light greenish blue, and there is a haze in the air that is like opaque. You can barely see through it, and there's like this magical kind of shimmer in it that's like almost like a glitter suspended in the air. And like as you're getting close to it, you just kind of get this like smell that it's like unearthly. Like if you could put etherealness into a scent, that's kind of what you are getting from this. And Rangrim, you are again seeing that there are these striations of that black and opaline metal, that ore that is in the wall, and it's running along kind of both sides of this passageway.
Mm-hmm.
So, where are you all going? What are you doing?
I don't know about you boys, but I might need to take another breather pretty soon. I'm pretty banged up.
Well, seems like as good a place as any for you to let you to take a quick rest.
Yeah, you do that. I'm feeling great. Rangrim is still like at a larger size and just makes a beeline down this tunnel.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yes, I need you to make me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, sick. He's definitely good at those.
So as Rangrim's just running down, Glenn's just gonna pop a squat and make a quick little like shrine to Chandrell and just like nurse his wounds, and he's gonna take a short rest right here. Yeah.
on this little bank here.
Like,
10.
Udak, you're with me.
Rangrim, you go running into this just mist, this like light green fog that is filling this chamber, and your lungs are just coated in this kind of like acrid, bitter taste. And there's just like around you, it is like the most kind of like, it's got to be one of the craziest things you've ever seen. There's like this shimmering, sparkling glitter in the air and this like bright green fog, and around you are these like bioluminescing mushrooms that look very similar in size to the ones that are down the other hallway, but they're just kind of like slightly scaled down. They just look similar, but they're just like scaled down a little bit. And you're looking around and you're getting into this fog, and you're seeing, like, when you first get into it, you see it, and you see that there are just these like, almost looks like bones that are just like scattered around the bases of these mushrooms. And then those bones start getting up, and they start just kind of standing and like combining in these weird ways. And then you're looking around, you're seeing the mushrooms, and they're kind of morphing, and they're turning into these spectral mind flayers that are all around you, and they're standing. And then you look down at your hands, and your hands are just like, it's almost like buds are popping off of them, but they're more eyes, and they're just like covering your hand, and they're looking down in it, and your hand, like on your eye on your hand, you like close your hand for a second and you open it again, and it's actually a real eye, and it's blinking at you. Rangrim, what do you do?
Gross. Rangrim's basically in full freakout mode, and seeing the massive, what he assumes to be like bones converging into these forms, Rangrim's going to use his channel divinity and cast his destroy undead.
Okay. Yes. So, yeah, you cast destroy undead. What is that? Is that just like a holy magic? Like, what does it do when you cast, like, visibly or audibly? What does it do when you cast destroy undead?
So what it does is they all have to make a save. If they fail to save, if they're below a half CR, then they just die outright.
Mm-hmm.
But what it looks like is Rangrim's just like, I'm sick of these games, and he just smashes his hammer into the ground and lets out this like wave of light around him as it radiates throughout him. Whether or not any of this is undead or he's just tripping balls, he don't know that.
So what I'm going to say happens is that you run in there and you slam this. All these creatures are converging on you, and you slam this hammer down with your eye hand that actually has a real eye on it now, and you slam it down on the ground. And Cosmo and Glenn, you feel this rush of wind, and just like this fog just comes like shooting out of the opening, kind of passing by you all. And I need you guys to make intelligence saving throws with advantage.
It's
not a full.
Glenn is resting.
Well, it's like a short rest. Like he's just sitting there, and he's like wrapping up like bandages over his arms, and he's like kind of redressing like some of the leather, and just this blue smoke flies right by him.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, I don't know if he's sleeping or what, but
he's just sitting there. Short rest is just like a 30-minute break.
Just a little power nap. You have a Cliff Bar.
An intelligence saving throw?
Yeah, with advantage for both of you.
20.
I got a 19, but I have a +6 apparently for saving throws on intelligence. So
it is what you cast with, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah, I was like, "Where's that from?" That makes sense. That tracks.
Awesome. What'd you get?
A nat 20.
Oh, nice. Okay, so this blue mist comes shooting past you out into the waterway, and both of you kind of like, it wafts past you, but it only gets you for a second, so you only get a little bit in your lungs. You kind of like feel for a second like your vision kind of like shifts, and kind of looks like the walls are kind of colorful for about a second, and then it passes. But then looking back, you see Rangrim just smashing his hammer down into the middle of this empty hallway, where there are glowing mushrooms and there are skulls on the ground. But that is the extent of it. And Rangrim, after like kind of a short period of time, you open your eyes and things are as they should be.
Rangrim, you're making so much noise. Glenn's trying to rest.
Yeah, man, can you keep it down? You've been really taking it to this earth.
Like he's been trying to sleep a lot. All these bones started turning into things. And did anyone else see that? Am I doing that?
Are you doing what?
That over there. And Rangrim points at a rock that he is still hallucinating, thinking it's moving. But to everyone else, it's not.
It's a rock.
Yeah, Glenn's just over in the corner, like, yeah, bud, you're doing it. Good job.
I don't want to be doing it.
You're not doing it. It's someone else. I don't know what you want us to say, man.
Do I keep walking down the hallway?
Yeah, so at this point, you have cleared the mist. You basically dispersed it with your kind of burst of a spell. But yeah, so if you want to keep walking down the hallway, you can.
You guys are no help, and I'm walking down the hallway.
Okay. So you make it further down the hallway, and as you start getting a little bit further in, you start seeing this huge form ahead of you. And it's draconic in kind of shape, and it's just this like large form that seems to be kind of crouched at the end of the hallway, probably at least a 20 to 30 feet long. Pitch black in color.
While all this is going on, and I'm kind of taking my little short rest, I'm sending Poe down the waterway.
Okay.
And I'm telling him to basically report and alert me if he sees anything.
Okay, cool.
That isn't water down the waterway.
Just roll me a perception check for Poe.
Sure. 13, and it's what, plus 3, so 16 for Poe.
Rangrim, we'll go with you first here. This form that is kind of crouched at the end of the hallway, it doesn't seem to be moving, but it is a very large and very intimidating looking shape.
Well, yep. Mm-hmm. And Rangrim's gonna just like slowly tiptoe his way back to the party.
He got scared.
And more or less, once he gets to this bank, guys, I don't know if I'm still seeing stuff. Whatever it is, it doesn't look good for us. It's a big, like, draconic thing, real menacing looking. Could be a statue. Could be something we have to kill.
Great.
I don't really know. I still feel a little weird.
I'm up for killing things. And like you just see Cosmo's hammer just like spark.
But you didn't like when I killed the other guy with the water.
That was one of me friends, Rangrim.
You didn't know his name. What was his name?
It was Ted. All right.
It wasn't Ted. I took his name tag, and he holds up a name tag, and it says Jerome.
That's actually, wow, that's crazy. That's exactly what I have in my notes written right here.
Well, maybe I was so close with him that I called him Ted because of an inside joke that you wouldn't know. Regardless,
maybe
he bore the mark
maybe this is the name
of
tag
the
from the
Boulder
Dust
Fist.
Dogs. We don't know.
Glenn, while they're talking about all this stuff, you get kind of word back from Poe that further down the waterway there is what seems to be a ledge, and they can see that there looks to be some sort of opening up on top of the ledge in the waterway, and there doesn't seem to be really anything moving.
When he like reports that back, since I'm already seated, I don't have to worry about standing. I'm gonna like blink into his eyes and basically just try to like absorb what he sees. So could you give it a little more detail?
Yeah. So
like is it like a step?
Yeah, so it seems like the waterway runs further down this passage and then kind of goes underneath this rock ledge that's and just kind of goes down into a subterranean waterway at that point. And kind of where that water flows to and kind of hits the wall and goes underneath, there is a ledge that's up about 15 feet that then there seems to be some sort of dark passage that goes deeper in, some sort of smaller tunnel.
Is the water just kind of like pooling down there, or is it like then dropping down?
It's
into
pooling.
Like another...
It's pooling and it's deeper at that point because the water's basically running up against this like wall, and then it's going underneath the wall as well.
Okay, and there's a pathway. So I'm gonna send Poe. I'm gonna send Poe up the pathway, but I'm like come out of him, I guess, and just tell the guys like basically that's what I saw. I was like, looks like we got some more waterway ahead of us. Did it look treacherous at all, or did it just kind of seem like more of that like mellow river moving pretty quickly?
It's just river. There was no strange waves or anything of that sort that Poe noticed. It was just that.
Does it look deeper? Can you tell?
Just look deeper down at the end. Kind of pools, but you know, the athletes you are, I imagine you'd be fine with it. And there's about like a 15-foot shelf that we have to climb up onto or hoist each other up onto. I'm not sure, but we could probably make it up. But what was this, Rangrim, this big old rock monster down the way? Is that something we need to worry about, or was it moving towards us, or were you going to it?
No, it was just there, looking ominous, and I wasn't really sure if it was there. I saw a lot of weird things in this hallway, and I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not jumping the gun as I normally do. And you said the whole thing about deep water, and I can't swim.
Right, and I'm wearing this plate mail.
Makes me a little bit heavy
maybe river's not the way. Maybe we got to go meet Rangrim's big rock friend.
I'll say that the depth of the water, where you guys crossed, like being kind of like waist, like kind of breast deep for the dwarves, Poe was able to, while they can't like determine the absolute depth, they could see that the ground didn't get much further away until the very end. They could still see the bottom as they were flying over the water.
I mean, we might be able to wade through it. Probably use some more dust to suck up some of that water, make it easier for us to pass through. But we also have this other route that we can see what's going down here.
Well, I certainly don't want to. And he just like gulps, like risk me safety if the big bad I have to kill is at the end of this hallway here.
Well, I mean, one's a dry hallway, one's a wet hallway, but either way, we're going to be running into a big bad at the end of a hallway. So,
right,
which one do you want to gamble with first, wet or dry?
The dry one.
I could send Poe down the dry way too, and I blink and Poe's back, and I just cast him back down the dry one.
Yeah. So, are you blinking into Poe's eyes?
Yes, down this hallway this time.
Okay,
because we could go that way, or we could go down this wet ass passage.
Poe goes zooming down this hallway. You can tell that the mushrooms do seem to be kind of like building up that haze again around themselves. It hasn't filled the entire hallway, but like within maybe like a foot area around the bigger mushrooms, there it seems to be kind of like foggy again, and kind of down towards the feet level. Poe gets to the end of this hallway, and there's a monstrous statue made out of this just black, it's like a combination of stone and this like black opaline metal. Though you may not recognize, actually roll me a history check, Glenn.
Well, I rolled a 12 plus 3, 15.
Okay. From context clues of where you are and just kind of what this place is, you would take this to be Torog the Crawling King. This depiction is lovingly crafted with the same level of like skill that the other ones are, but this one is done with a lot more fervor, and its scale is massive. This kind of like draconic figure that is just like on all fours and extremely just even intimidating in sculpture form as this statue. And kneeling in front of this statue is the shriveled form of a humanoid that is wearing these black robes emblazoned with a symbol of Torog. And they are bowed, head in prayer, hands together. But the top of their head is missing, and there is no brain inside the cavity. And as you look closer at it, as Poe looks closer at it, you understand that this figure is long since passed.
Poe's going to land in the skull cavity and poke the eyes from the inside. He's going to pick out any flesh. He's a raven. Going to pick out any flesh that's there.
There is probably a little bit of some dregs.
And then he's going to fly up, land on Torog's head, and he's going to poop, as birds do on statues. And Glenn's going to like snap him back and just kind of be giggling. Like as he comes back, he's like, Rangrim, it was just another statue. I think it's something we need to go check out, though, because it looked to be very much an offering to our big tormentor friend, and we might need to maybe see if we can unravel a little bit more about what Alton's been doing down here. So I think we need to go back down the dry path, see if we can investigate that body a little bit. I tried to send Poe. He just started eating his eyes. It was disgusting.
Whose eyes?
There's eyes.
You'll see. And I think my short rest is over by now, and I stand up and start leading the guys that way.
Okay. Yeah. So
rest to go.
So you all can head back down that passageway. Like I said, the mushrooms are starting to kind of like build up their fog again. But you're able to find enough of a pathway in between and, not kick your feet up too much to disturb it, that you don't have to make any saves. So you get down to the end of this passageway again, and now all of you see that figure that is leaned down in prayer with its head bowed towards Torog, with its basically top of its head removed and its brain also removed.
Well, let's not linger long. These mushrooms is building back up. We need to keep Rangrim's sanity when we leave.
Smart. That's a hell of a call out there. I look to, I take a knee next to this bowing or praying statue and start to like rifle through his pockets to see if I can find like any like prayer book or hymn book or like anything in its pockets that might like explain what he's praying to and why he no longer has a brain while he was praying. Like mad notes of like dedication, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So roll me an investigation check.
Investigation. I'm also taking I'm rolling 3 hit dice for my short rest.
Sweet.
Oh god, terrible investigation.
Those-
10 total.
Okay. Wow, that's bad. I'll say that because it's a corpse. You, in one of their like more baggier pockets, you do pull out a small leather-bound book that is emblazoned with the symbol of Torog. And when you go to open it, you can see that the owner of the book area is filled out, and it does say Alton.
Oh damn. Glenn doesn't say oh damn. Glenn's very cool and collected about it.
Oh damn!
Well boys, I think we found our friend Alton. Problem solved, right? And I just kind of hand the book over to Cosmo. I said, you always thumbing through that book of yours. Think you can pull anything out of this one?
Right,
I hand
and
him
Cosmo opens and just starts turning through the pages.
So I think that you're just kind of turning through these pages, and you're seeing that it's set up in a similar way to like religious texts. Of course, each one is different, but this one it's just teachings of the ways of Torog. And I don't know how much time you want to spend getting deep into that, but it just is telling the kind of the history of, where it originated in the Underdark, the teachings of Torog himself being bound, and basically Torog went down below into the Underdark to fight another god, demigod, and was injured in the process and cursed by that other demigod to never be able to heal and never be able to leave the Underdark. And so Torog basically started carving out his own section of the Underdark as his lair and his divine area that he ruled over. And that is where the Crawling King got his name. And so that's kind of like is the early teachings inside the book that you're able to quickly skim. And you can see that Alton is written in the margins and all over the place, just like feverishly, like very into this, a very astute learner, taking notes all over this little book of his.
Well, guys, I can already tell whatever is at the end of this tunnel, it seems that Alton and Torog will likely be working together in more ways than I like to admit.
I mean,
Torog? Who said Torog? And Rangrim has the skull with the top part of it just behind a rock, like, I love Torog.
The head is just, you've removed the head completely and just holding it up right now.
And I'm like, look at me, I love Torog. He's a really great guy. Can we get on with this already? I hate these guys. They suck. We're not learning anything about some sort of weird mind flayer that Glenn, you didn't see him. Cosmo knows what I'm talking about.
Glenn saw him.
We all see him now.
We all seen him. I
And
just was the only
then
one
we
that
got
hit
this
him.
guy. I'm Alton. I'm sad. My God's a jerk. Woo!
You hear from down the hallway, probably a little bit louder than you probably would be wanting to hear. You hear Tardan go, "Hey, you guys coming back over here, or what's going on?"
Tardan, I say this kindly. Shut the hell up.
And you hear Udak. You just hear him hit. You hear Tardan yell out as Udak probably hits him.
All right, well, I guess we're taking the...
He's probably right. We need to get back. These tunnel clouds seem like they're stacking up quick. We need to let's stop fooling around and let's make like a leaf and get out of here.
Get the fuck out. All right. Water route it is.
As you all are heading down this passageway past these mushrooms, another wail and rumble tears through this, and it's not on the level of the first two where it's it's apocalyptic, but it is definitely getting stronger. And this place, like, you can see that these walls are just like the cracks in the ceiling, and the level of heat that's in this place is getting worse. And in some of the cracks, you're starting to see light coming through. This like orange light that is kind of like it seems to be getting a little bit hotter in here.
Rangrim, leave your clothes on.
Oh, I already have my clothes on. As he's like tying the like Alton, what I'm assuming is Alton's head. Like he's like looping it through his belt, like via the eye sockets.
Oh, it just seemed like he was undoing your trousers.
Oh no, I'm keeping this.
Well, that seems like it'll be good fun whenever we find it.
It'll be good for your mother's lizard grow that she has there. It's like we're gonna make for a good bowl, and I don't even know him, but I hate this guy, and I'm gonna eat something out of his head.
Well, it's a good skull bowl. You just eat the soup and then you eat the skull. It's
y'all are monsters.
One thing you notice is that the skull is it's very like it's there's no smell to it at all. It's like completely almost mummified at this point. There aren't a lot of bugs down here, so it has just kind of like dried, and with the heat and everything like that, it's almost just like very much just shriveled into a husk around the bone. So the skin's all still there, but it's just like completely shrunken head aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boys. Well, good luck with the plate mail. And Glenn dives in, or just jumps in and starts like walking.
I was gonna say, if you dive, Glenn dives in and knocks his head out on the ground and then floats down the water.
Glenn just starts like trudging along and moving his way down the waterway.
Yeah. So as you're going down the water, one thing you're noticing is that you get a little bit further, and then the ground seems to kind of like go down a shelf, and so it is staying the same depth, but it's getting lower. And so like you're dropping down a little bit lower, but the water level is staying fairly consistent. So it's about waist deep for Glenn and about breast high for the dwarves.
Right. Well then, let's go. Cosmo just jumps in and he's trudging through.
Yeah, Red Room's following. Like, I imagine that I'm trying to swim, but I'm more or less just like stuck to the bottom of this creek bed.
Yeah. Luckily, the ground seems to be almost stone. It's like kind of slippery, but it's not like gravelly. So you're able to get a fairly good stance in the water. And because of your weight, you are very much stuck to the ground. Udak also joins you all, kind of walking as soon as he sees you come back through this passageway. And kind of, so I get, are we going this way? This seems like kind of our last option. I never went down this way, but I mean, with that shit that used to be in the water, there wasn't really a purpose to do so. And back when I was in this mine, that wasn't that passageway across the way wasn't even opened.
Well, I don't expect much of this to be the same, especially when it was all an illusion to begin with.
Seems like a good place to keep some stuff you didn't want people to find, with some creepy little water thing, and you have to go in the water what's to get to the place, and it's a good cover. And Udak, can you swim with those?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I made a joke about the sword stroke not being the most proficient way to do it, but I mean, I can do my best. I mean, right now it's fine. It's only to my waist. I'm got a little bit of a height advantage, luckily.
Turn it sideways, just like a pedo.
True. Also, Tardan, don't move. Stay there.
Right,
yeah,
I was
Tardan,
good.
Go first.
Right, yeah, just stay there. We'll come back for you.
So as you all are making your way down this waterway, you come to a couple different shelves that seem like probably are a little bit of a trouble for Rangrim and Cosmo. You kind of like maybe slide down them from time to time, and but as you get to the bottom of them, you are able to stand back up. The water level seems to be staying relatively consistent. Can you all just give me acrobatics check for Glenn and athletics for Cosmo and Rangrim, and I'm gonna roll in for Udak too, just for moving in this terrain. Ooh, Udak did good.
Got a 12.
I got an.
I also got a 12.
Nice. So I'll say that you're slipping and sliding a little bit, but you're able to keep your feet. You're not. No one goes. No one goes ass over tea kettle into the water. And so you're able to make your way a little bit further down and to where the water is all like kind of coalesced. And at this point, it is getting a little bit higher and a little bit scarier for the dwarves because it's kind of like just below neck level. And for Glenn, it's probably like just up here for you, just right below your kind of chest height. But you all are in this dark water pool, and you can feel that there's still a current, and you can see the kind of like coalescing of water pressing against this like rocky outcropping ledge on the far side. The water is just kind of all pooling in this area, and then you can see that about 15 feet up, sure enough, there is a pretty decently sized ledge and a darker opening up on that ledge.
Well, boys, I think I'll take the first climb. I got some rope, and I'll just lift you guys out. Yeah. Or do you guys want to climb this one up?
I don't need any rope. I can do it myself.
Well, I'll race you to the top then. And
Can
Glenn
I do
just
it
starts
myself?
As Glenn says, "I'll race you to the top." Cosmo, just seeing the ledge, just misty steps up there.
Nice. Yeah. So Glenn, make me an acrobatics check.
What the hell? Oh yeah, natural 1.
Oh. Okay.
It was a 19, 9 cocked, and then re-rolled for a 1.
So Glenn, you see Cosmo teleport up onto this ledge, and you're like, "Damn!" And you did you go up there with your rope using like your pitons and stuff like that, or did you start climbing?
Oh, I would have just been free climbing it with water below. Wasn't worried about it.
Cosmo, you see him start free soloing up the side of this rock face, and Glenn, you're feeling really good about it for about halfway up, and then the rock you're holding onto just comes off completely, and Rangrim, you get the wonderful visage, and Cosmo, you see him kind of like falling away from you, and then Glenn just goes complete backsplash into the water, and is just completely soaked and is completely submerged in the water.
Well, I guess I won that race.
Yeah, you cheated. You used
That was cheating.
that was ridiculous.
That was cheating. I can't do that. But I'll show you. Us dwarves are good at climbing rocks, Glenn. Trust me. And Rangram just starts making his way up. Also, just patting himself on the shoulder. You can do it, buddy. To give myself guidance.
Yeah, roll me a athletics check.
With mage hand, I'm gonna send an invisible mage hand up and catch his foot as he like tries to get his like grip at about 10 feet high. So after he's about like 10 feet up, I'm gonna just trip him, pull him back down to the water.
So I guess he's imposing disadvantage on your roll.
I don't think I needed the disadvantage imposed because I rolled a 3.
Rangram, you barely even make it off the ground. You're starting to climb, and your weight is just like you're like, yeah, I'm doing it, but you're barely like you've made it maybe a foot above the ground at this point, and you're kind of just like you look down, and you're still like half your body's still in water.
Well,
I start cracking up and I splash him in the face like, we both suck, man. And then I just start climbing again.
Hey, you! This isn't a water fight. Let's go. Come on, we've got a big bed to kill.
well, I tried. I can't do it. And Rangram just slightly submerges himself below the water to like here, and then is just like aggressively blowing bubbles.
Fine,
like a hippo.
fine.
Yeah.
Then I guess I'll just have to pop that skull by myself. And Cosmo turns to walk away from the ledge.
I think we have one more brother to kill. And Udak goes over and finds like these cracks in the rock and is kind of like wedging his swords in there kind of as like pitons, almost as like makeshift climbing axes, and is kind of getting his way up there with a strong 17.
He's just like using those.
Climb again. Oh my
he's
God,
just like
terrible
using
again.
those swords and just like pounding them in.
Yeah.
Well, Cosmo, what are you, the only adventurer in the history of this world that doesn't have rope?
I was gonna say if you throw a rope down, you can give him advantage on the climb.
Well,
I make a 15 on this next attempt to climb up.
You, with some effort, are able to get your way up this, but it is not graceful, and takes a lot longer than you would have liked.
I just start throwing down a rope to Rangram.
I was gonna do that.
Yeah, sure you were.
I just wanted to see who was second best.
I rolled a 10 for athletics.
With advantage?
Oh, with advantage?
I gave you a rope.
So yes, with advantage. I rolled a 10.
Okay, so are both Cosmo and Glenn helping pull him up?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so roll another dice.
Glenn, just give him your mage hand. I think he needs a third hand.
Just underneath his butt.
Just give him a little lift.
A little pat on the back.
I was struggling getting up this cliffside. That's a 4.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
Yeah,
Cosmo,
I mean,
you gotta
guys
use some
are
of
just
that.
pulling him, and he's not coming. He's like not making it any further.
Right.
He's just like, so I guess we just go kill the big bad and just kind of come back. We'll tell you what happened.
Right, we'll give you.
Guys, I'm right here. I'm not like Todding or something.
You sure are sitting there off like a lump on a log.
Well, it's hard. It's slippery. I got armor on us and stuff.
Well, just hang on to the rope then. We'll just pull you up, okay? We'll do the
Hey,
work.
you just teleported up here. You didn't climb it at all. I'd like to see you do it.
Cosmo, roll a strength check with advantage.
Ooh, I needed that. That first one was a nat 1.
Defeated by a wall. This is the most D&D thing we've done this
Rank
entire campaign.
get up
By the
on
way.
50
Defeated
foot
by a
wall.
wall.
Oh god, the second one was much better. Athletics is a 25.
Okay. Between you and Glenn, you all are able to pull Rangrim up this wall. Rangrim, you are able to just like ungracefully kind of just like scramble your way over this ledge, completely soaking wet, you guys at this point, but you all are now up on this ledge. Congratulations. You've defeated the most deadly adversary in this entire campaign.
Yeah.
Always. Hey, what do you all want to do?
Just doing a quick scan of like this ledge. Does it look like this was like a collapsed like bridge at one point that like extended over the water, or like does it look like this is unnatural? This is like kind of a natural forming.
As you're getting up on top of this, it does seem like this was something else. This is the area that you're up on top of right now is almost like it's like a walkway or a balcony setup. It's it looks like it was at one point in time the similar like the black rock, the black stone that the actual temple was made out of. And now you're looking down in the water and you're seeing that there are pieces and fallen apart, just eroded away pillars and whatnot that are down in this water and like chunks of stone. And this thing is just like partially collapsed. The cave, however, opening that is here on top of this is not part of that. It seems like it has been freshly cut into as freshly as the mines on the other parts of this this temple were added on. This is not like the black stone that has like, this is just like natural rough cut stone that seems to go deeper into the darkness.
Got it. Well, guys, I'm gonna guess we're gonna find Alton just down this corridor with you. You ready? Feel like you guys
Ooh, yeah.
want to go first?
Are you ready? Are we ready?
Let's go. I'll go first, and Cosmo turns, and he is back on his rampage.
Back on his bullshit.
As Cosmo's walking away, I'm gonna cast Mage Hand and slowly pull his tarp that he's like been using to cover his armor. Just pull it off of him real quick to like make him look all badass and shiny as he walks in. It's like they put the cape on James Brown. Basically the opposite of that. Like just like, let me get that for you. Just like pulls it off. Just, like, Glenn folds it up nicely and sets it on the side. Like,
Solid.
you got it, bud.
Hero montage coming.
Amazing. So Cosmo, are you running down this passageway?
That's more of like an epic walk.
I walk epically.
$1 million strut is what you're doing.
He
walking
just
in like Conor McGregor. He's got that millionaire strut going on. Rangrim's behind him, soaking like a dead rat, like coughing up seawater.
And Glenn does the same thing for Rangrim when he walks past him.
Okay.
Oh,
So
we're
both look really cool.
going this
And
way.
then Glenn's 15 feet behind him.
Udak kind of just looking at you guys as you go past and goes, okay, and then just follows back behind Glenn, bringing up the rear.
Yeah, as Udak starts to pass me, Glenn just slows him down. It's like, we're gonna let them start this one, and just like kind of holds him back a little bit. It's like, don't know what's gonna happen.
As you're walking through this passageway, what you're seeing is this roughly cut, very narrow hallway that is just like barely thicker than you are to be able to get through. It's also mostly collapsed. As you're getting into it, it seems like the level of damage to the rest of the mine after what had happened with the rumbling and the wailing, it seems like if there was an epicenter for that sound, you are getting really close to it because the damage is like, as you were entering into this, was not as bad, and as you go, it is like more and more rubble, and like this thing is more and more collapsed. It seems like a bomb went off, and you are getting closer to where that bomb went off. And you hear this rumbling and this like deep like wailing as you all are walking into this chamber. As soon as you walk into this room, it's very different than any other room you've been in. It just seems like it's ramshackle, like way more ramshackle than Doc's laboratory or any of the other rooms. This thing is like, it is for function, and that is its only purpose. There are these kind of rough-hewn tables that are all over the side closer to where you see this figure standing, and they're shining with this like bright green light, and you can see things moving around inside of them. They're these big vats almost of some sort of bright green liquid. They're pretty large. They're probably a good 5 feet in diameter, and you can see things moving around and splashing around inside of them. I'll say they're probably coming all the way up from the floor where they're on top of this like wooden structure. They're probably standing a good 3, let's say 5 feet by 5 feet. That's a good, nice number. These big giant vats, and you all walk into this room, and you see this figure. That
Glenn does not walk into this room. As Glenn sees that there is a room, he then hides up against the dark hallway that he was walking down.
And this room is all
100%.
illuminated by this like green light, casting this eerie like pallor over everything in it.
Okay, as soon as there was green light being cast, Glenn was hiding. I got a nat 20 for my stealth check, so it's a 31.
There is this figure. It's 8 feet tall. It is leaning against this far table, hands bent, facing away from you. It is solid black opaline steel, and it is covered in these like riveted spikes. And leaning against the table to the side of them is a giant halberd that is also made of this black opaline material. As soon as you enter the room, this figure turns to you. They're wearing a black full helm, and you can see this like green light shining out from the face of the full helm. These two kind of like cuts into it that go up, and there's just these like, it is fully spiked all the way around, like almost like a mace.
I've been waiting for you. But you must be the ones who sent my brothers to rest.
Well, I've been looking to make it 3 of a kind.
I see. So
He picks up his halberd from the side table.
So what is your purpose here? Why do you defile the temple of our god and spit in the face of the Karl?
Well, initially, it was because you was taking my kind, as you like to say, captive slaves against their will. And I've come to set them free and bring vengeance for their lives.
While Cosmo's being like really like heroic, Rangrim's standing behind him, holding Alton's skull, and is just mimicking anything Alton says by shaking the skull behind Cosmo.
You see Alton just kind of grab his head and just starts letting out this, and just this wail rips through the chamber. I need you all to make con saving throws. As he lets out this scream.
Oh no.
How's a 21 do ya?
Well, Udak did shitty.
How does a 7 do?
7 does not do.
It does not do.
How does a 28?
Ooh, 28?
That do.
That's the opposite of what Glenn does. It do.
Glenn, you take 5 damage. Udak is going to take 8 damage.
As this like wave of energy passes him, Cosmo reaches into his pouch and pulls out one of the flasks that the gnoll chugged and just like swigs one.
Yes!
Awesome.
Giant Cosmo.
Cosmo, you swell to 2 times your size. Every dimension doubles in size, and you are twice your weight, I believe. You also get you have advantage on strength saves, and you have a +4 to your damage.
Okay. Just like +4 to damage?
No, sorry, it's a D4, I believe.
Okay, so D4 extra to my hits. Okay.
Yes. And Rangrim, what was your save?
Oh, I rolled I had a 21.
Oh, yeah, you saved. You're totally fine. Yeah, so this now that you're like faced with this whale in person, it is absolutely just like a wave of sound hits you. Like it almost just like takes the wind out of you, Glenn, as this thing like rips down this like narrower part of the passageway, almost consolidating, condensing as it hits you and Udak. But like just hits you right in the chest, and like you can feel like your face going like you're on a roller coaster. Alton's holding onto his head, and he's just like rubbing his head and goes,
With my brother gone, something's broken inside of me. It's only by the grace of Torog that I stand before you now. I will not hear this blasphemy. It is their will that put this temple to work, collecting the matter needed for Torog to regain his strength.
He like lifts that halberd up and throws it up in the air and catches it in both hands and goes,
My brothers will not have died in vain. I will use what sanity remains to me, ensuring that he will never interfere with Torog's will.
And we can roll for initiative.
16.
Oh my god.
You kind of deserve that one.
Jeez.
I do.
Kinda earned that one.
I deserve the one for like picking on this guy who's like 4 brothers are dead. I'm like mocking him with his own head.
Cosmo got a 19.
Glenn got a 17.
Epic battle music begins. Cosmo, go for it.
Cosmo just like swigging this thing and growing to enlarge and like just, well, here it comes, and like charges at Alton. As he is running in, Cosmo uses his bonus action, Vow of Enmity. Gives me advantage on all of my attack rolls. So that is an 18 to hit.
No, it does not hit.
Okay, and how about a 19 to hit?
No, it does not hit.
Okay. So Cosmo, even in his enlarged form, runs up and just like smashes like straight into this guy's armor, and just feeling like just running into a brick wall.
So this like opaline steel, like black steel, like you hit it and this sparks come off your hammer, and like lightning and also just like metal on metal sparks kind of off this thing. And in a similar way to like when you have like your shield of faith up or any of those like things around you, anything that you have that's like holy protection.
Sure.
You feel like that kind of level of like defense on this person as well, but it's like this dark energy, similar to the dark necrotic energy that was actually on that door that Glenn nearly died to.
What door? I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, you are not able to make a dent on them. Glenn, it is your turn.
Well, after seeing a giant Cosmo not actually do any damage, Glenn's going to... Actually, I might go make that shot. Oh yeah, I can take that shot. Glenn's going to take his bow and just take a pot shot from here.
Okay.
I don't think I have bonus action from afar, yeah. I don't. So I'm just going to take a shot to see if anything that I have hurts him. I rolled a 16 to hit.
No, it does not do it.
Okay, so it just like splashes off his armor, I'm like assuming, just
Yes.
radiant dud. And then I'm gonna come out of hiding, and I'm gonna move actually to this part here, and then as my bonus action, I'm gonna hide again.
Okay.
13 so a 24 to hide again.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to successfully hide yourself. Glenn, so you shoot him with this arrow that just kind of like reflects off his armor, but Alton is so distracted by this giant dwarf in front of him, and just like grabbing his halberd, he is bringing it down on you, Cosmo. That's going to be actually not that good. 18 on the first attack.
Nope.
That is going to be an 18 plus 6 for 24 for the second hit.
Yeah, that hits.
So that's going to be it's just going to be 8 damage as he basically takes this halberd and just like slices it across you in this kind of like small area that he's in. He's choked up pretty high on this halberd. He's just slicing down on you and catches you kind of across the neck and chest armor, but your armor is able to keep most of it at bay. And he just looks at you and says,
Prepare yourself.
and you feel like some of that force kind of hits you a little bit. And you take a additional 3 points of damage as this like force damage hits you in the face. That is going to be Udak's turn. Udak, who is absolutely not feeling good, like they've taken a decent amount of damage already just from like the stuff in the hallway, is absolutely just like, he doesn't care. You see, Glenn, you see your friend like blind with like this orc rage at this point, just rushes as far as he can down the hallway. To about right here, I believe, is as far as they could make it. But just like absolutely like bloodlust in their eyes.
So Glenn's kind of like he's facing with his back right hidden, and as he just sees like him gear up and just start sprinting, he just kind of moves a little bit out of the way to let him go past, and then throws a little puff of dust behind him with his mage hand just to really make the moment special for him.
Awesome. Yeah, Udak is absolutely hell-bent on giving a little bit of what he's gotten over the years from these brothers. That's going to bring us to Poe.
Poe is going to.
How far away was Poe?
I put Poe was like in behind us, like
Yeah,
as
that's
we were
fine.
climbing up and whatnot. But he was behind us in case anything came from behind. But
True.
he's going to fly basically around and come back here to Alton. And sorry, I guess you couldn't see until I dropped it. Basically, he's waiting there for Glenn to move in closer, but not on this turn. He's not going to engage with Alton on this turn.
Okay. Sounds good. That's going to bring us to, last but not least, Rangrim.
Frangrim's gonna try something. Hey, bud. There's a nice big old halberd you have there. Be a shame if you dropped it. And I'm gonna cast heat metal on his halberd.
Okay. You see this thing glow
Okay.
red hot as you cast heat metal on this item. And then you don't know whether it's just because this is a construct. This is an iron figure holding this thing. Probably, maybe not, doesn't have feeling in their hands. It doesn't seem to bother them in the slightest that they're holding this bright, burning hot weapon now. Though it probably might bother your friend Cosmo, who it's going to be used on shortly.
However, he still takes 2d8 fire damage, and because he didn't drop it, he has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of my next turn.
So
Okay.
how much damage does he take from the initial damage?
10.
10, okay.
Just 10.
You can see the heat actually like starting to permeate into the gauntlets in the hands. Like that, not only is the weapon now this burning hot orange color, his hands and like arm are starting to like dimly burn with that red color as well as he's heating up, holding onto this burning hot weapon. Cosmo, it is your turn.
Okay. So seeing that, like, he's just like seeing that he took no damage from pretty much any of these two mad shots. He's like covered in this black armor, right? What does his head look like?
He's wearing a full helm that has these like two big slits that are going all the way up to it and kind of like going into these points, and then like one big long piece coming down the center. And there's this green light that is just like coming out of this black helmet that is covered in these like riveted spikes.
Okay. But otherwise, he's just like armor head to toe.
Armor head to toe. Yeah, it's the form that you all saw the mold of in Doc's chambers. That 7 foot tall and now 8 foot tall because it has a head.
So just like not seeing any real weak points into this thing, Cosmo is just gonna like pound into this thing, and he's just gonna seeing his hands turn red hot, he's gonna like try and hit his like arms. He's gonna go for the he's gonna go for the arm.
Yeah, roll me some attacks.
So that would be a 24 to hit.
Yes, that does hit.
Okay, can confirm 24 hits, guys.
Is there a second attack?
No, that I
Glenn would just turn around and leave.
That was all of them. Like,
Okay, gotcha. So what do you do with your 24 attack?
I just like I just swing down on one of his arms.
Okay, roll me some damage.
It's 11 damage. I rolled max 8, so it's 11 damage to that one arm.
Okay, so you smash down on this hand that's holding the halberd. I'm going to say that you hit his secondary hand, the one holding the lower part, and you hit down on it, and you just like some of the fingers and the arm itself, like you smash into it, weakened by the heat of Rangram's spell. And like you see like just these gears and these other like items just kind of like start kind of falling out of it, and it seems damaged, and like 3 of the fingers like are not holding on to anything at this point. They're just like completely destroyed, and they're just like bent in these strange ways, and he's holding on to this, but you can just see this like radiating heat starting to creep up his arm further and further as he's holding on to this weapon, but that hand has been like very, very much damaged at this point because of that hit.
That's my whole action. That's all I got.
Whole action. Glenn, what is your whole action?
I'll give you a quarter of my action, and then I'll try another
cool.
3/4 after that. This is a desk right here?
Yes.
Okay. Glenn's going to... Yeah, he's going to take a shot first, I guess. He's going to peek around the corner and take another shot with his bow in the ring of volleys.
So covered in this desk, by the way, is you're kind of like, are you hiding behind the desk?
Yeah. I'm effectively going to finish my turn. Yeah.
You can see that there are these collated papers, like these writings that are similar to that journal you found in Alton's room. And they're just kind of like loose papers covering this entire desk. But you can see that there is like in a very untidy scrawl and written very large as if they're a very undexterous hand. You can see that there are these journal papers covering it. Cool. But yes, so roll your attack.
Cool. So I have advantage. I rolled a natural 18 and a natural 19, but I could not get the 20. But 27 to hit.
Well, I mean, with the way you're going, it'll be next time. So it'll be the next roll.
Yeah, right. Technically, I'm gonna get a 1. Just jinxed it.
So roll your damage.
Oh my god, I rolled a 1 on the longbow, so it's gonna be 7 damage there. But I also have sneak attack.
Okay.
Which wasn't much better, but at 15 damage total. I'm gonna take my bonus action to hide again. Just duck behind the desk. That was a nat 1 to hide, which came to a 12 still. Because rogue.
I'll say that you're hiding behind this desk, but you realize that it's a desk and it has legs, and
there's
it's just
a chair on the other
so
side.
You're like completely visible for the most part. There's nothing to hide behind, really.
So I'm facing the other way though. Glenn's got his back to the fight, and he's like, they can't see me, or if I can't see them, they can't see me. It's like tucked in there. But then as like a free action, I'm going to send the idea to Poe, and I'm going to say like, Poe, find the brain, and then I'm going to end my turn.
So Alton, it's Alton's turn right now, and he's going to just look down at his hand that's been just damaged by Cosmo, and he's just going to hold his halberd in his one hand, and he's just going to go to grab Cosmo with the kind of damaged hand, and is just going to smash his spiked head into Cosmo, and he's going to roll for an attack here. Whew. First attack does not hit.
It's all those heads finally getting revenge on Cosmo.
That second one does not hit either. Cosmo, his helmet smashes against the helmet from your father, and like just like you and him are face to face right now. Roll me a just roll me a perception check real quick.
It's a 16.
Cosmo, as you're face to face with this like full black steel helmet, and like much closer than you probably ever wanted to be to this figure, you look past the 2 slit like eye slots that are in this helmet directly into a floating and brightly glowing jar that has a floating brain inside of it. And that light is shining out of it, and there's like these bubbles coming out. And that is what you see inside that helmet. And that's going to be Udak's turn. Udak is going to, with this continued rage that he has, is going to jump onto Alton's shoulders and just start stabbing down on him with his, like, basically just jumping up and just trying to slam one of his arms down into Alton to stop his progression, and then stabbing down with the other one into Alton's back. Udak is fucking pissed. Udak just got an 18 plus plus 5, so 23 for Udak.
Does that hit?
That does hit. So we're working it down slowly. So somewhere
confirmed.
between 19 and 23, you guys are there. So that's going to be, yeah, so that's going to be,
oh, shit.
that's going to be 6 damage for Udak as he's able to stop his progression from going over this thing, Alton's shoulders, by wedging his sword in between some of the plates of armor, and then is trying to stab down with the other one, but isn't able to make purchase. So Udak also does 6 damage. Poe, what does Poe do?
Poe is going to take their turn to do what Glenn asked and circle the head and look for the brain, or I guess circle the body and look for the brain. So he'd be using his room to move and just do a perception or investigation check, either one, whichever you want.
Yeah, just roll me a perception check.
Oh my goodness.
That one.
That's a 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Close.
I will say that it makes a lot of sense that Poe is not able to see. He can just see the light coming out of that helmet. And I will
He's
say
dodging attacks and like, yeah, he's a bird.
I'll say that while
Raisin.
Poe is flying around the room, though, he does see that there are these moving little tiny, like almost moving worms inside of all of these vats that are all around the room. And you're also noticing that there are pieces and particles of that crystalline mushroom that is like all over the place, as if it was used as some sort of ingredient. But that's as much as you get for that. Rangrim, what do you do?
Rangrim is going to first impose more damage via heat metal with my
Sweet.
bonus action.
Does he have to make this save to not drop it again?
Yes, he does. So that's 12 damage,
That's cool.
and then he has to make a con save again.
So con save, 12. So Alton, his hands are just like his arms at this point, all the way up to his elbows are like this burning hot metal. Just like, and his fingers are like starting to, the mechanisms in his fingers that are making up this iron golem, this like artificing that built this monstrosity. The weight of the weapon, he's holding it, and just you see his hands just like unwillingly start bending the opposite direction as this weight of this halberd, and it falls to the ground, still like burning, but like his fingers are basically bent back the opposite direction now. Basically, just they are unusable at this point.
Rangrim would now, using my action, go sucks to suck, and I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt directly at his forehead using a 3rd level spell slot. And that is a 19. 12 plus 7? 19 hits him, right?
No.
Rude.
I'm so sorry.
Well.
Super close, though.
Well.
As much as I would have loved to have said that did hit.
Rangrim just is like, oh yeah, it sucks to suck, and fires a Guiding Bolt that just like goes directly past his head. It kind of like curves off like into oblivion, like he was kind of not controlling it. And I was like, oh, Cosmo, I didn't want to hit you. I'm sorry, I was being careful.
Can I do a deception check? Can I do insight real quick?
Sure.
It's a natural 19.
Oh my gosh.
I'm wicked lying. I whiffed on that, wicked bad.
Cosmo, it is your turn.
As like Alton has like pulled me in close, he tried to headbutt me, but now he's like dropped his weapon, and Rangrim's like throwing bolts over my shoulder because he doesn't want to hit me. He's just like, well, it must really suck to suck, I guess. He turns to Glenn and to Rangrim. He's just like, aim for the head.
I was trying.
And then he just,
Usually do.
and do as I do. And he just like brings his warhammer up to like smash the guy's legs.
Let's see if you smash or not.
To do the Cosmo.
To do the Cosmo. That's a 21 to hit.
That does hit.
Okay, all right. That's also a hit. So I get 2 hits plus my enlarged dice. That's what I got. So 28 damage upside this fool's skull.
Okay. So the way I see this going down, Rangrim, from the back, you see this green light shining out of his helmet, and you shoot this bolt at him, and this bolt like kind of shoots straight at them and kind of deflects off the side of their helmet, knocking it to the side as Cosmo comes in from the other side and just smashes them in the side of the head. Alton goes almost completely like just, it kind of stops in midair as Alton is almost at a 45-degree angle from this hit, falling away from Udak. As this helmet goes flying off of them, exposing this green brackish fluid encompassing this like a domed jar that just has a brain floating in the center of it, and this like these connections going down into the actual iron golem body. And Alton stumbles to the side and just falls against the wall and slides, kind of like starts holding himself up against the wall. And he like starts moving as if he's going to get up, and then you see the brain jar on top of his head just explode. It just like almost crushes inward, and you see like the liquid, it basically breaks it about halfway, and the liquid like drains out, and you just see Alton slide backwards and slump against the wall. The brain jar just completely like destroyed at this point. And when that happens, you see that kind of in the corner, you see that spectral form of the Mind Flayer. Simple-minded fool. Do you know what happens when our young don't find a host? And bursting out of the ground to the side of Alton, there is this monstrous worm that has these monstrous tentacles that is coming out of the ground, and these like just these giant flailing arms coming off of this creature that is right in your face, Cosmo. And it is going to roll for an attack. So that is just going to be a 18 plus 3, so 21.
That'll do it.
That's going to be 22 damage as these tentacles wrap around you, Cosmo. Yeah, so this thing is wrapping its arms around Cosmo. Rangrim and Glenn, what do you do?
Rangrim's kind of sitting there for a moment like, shit.
Do I see the spectral form?
Yes, you see it over in the corner, standing.
Okay. From my hidden position, actually, I don't think I'd probably have to rotate. Yeah, Glenn's gonna sneak over real quick. Not actually sneak, but just move over and take a shot at the spectral form, seeing him.
Yeah, go for it.
Some kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, roll to attack.
Guessing I don't have advantage on that because it's not really hidden. That's a 16 to hit.
Yes, it does hit.
Neat. That
They're
is
not all hard to hit.
12 damage.
12 damage. You shoot this arrow, and it kind of like tears through this spectral form, blowing like a pretty like grapefruit-sized hole in the side of them. And they kind of just like look over at you, and they can't really smile as a Mind Flayer, but they kind of like, you see their tentacles kind of move a little bit, probably in a pretty unsettling way.
And I'm gonna bonus action hide.
Rangrim, what are you doing?
Rangrim is going to go right to the middle of the room. Get right into this tentacle thing's face. But look at the spectral form. Basically, I'm sick of your mouth moving with your flaps and your things, and I'm going to cast silence in the 20-foot sphere that he's standing in.
Amazing. Yes. Does it have to do a save, or is it just silent?
It technically doesn't target him. It targets a space. So as long as he stands there, he cannot speak. So any spell that he would cast that requires verbal components, he'd have to leave there.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so this is when things pop off. This
It weren't already?
Yeah, this Mind Flayer worm is wrapping around Cosmo, and Rangrim, you're running up and casting silence, and Glenn, you're shooting through the spectral form, just trying to basically do whatever you can to stop this from happening. Udak is like is getting ready to like kind of taken by surprise by this creature and is now attacking, getting ready to attack and hopefully free Cosmo. And then you hear this like kind of slight rustling of armor and this like slight creaking and clanking as Alton pulls himself up from the ground and in a solid fluid motion grabs this worm by the front of its body and just starts moving and pushing it towards the spectral form. And he looks at all of you and says,
Torog, forgive me. Run.
And he is telling you all to run.
Well, boys, I think you heard him. And Glenn starts backing towards the entrance.
I'm going to roll a dice actually to see whether or not Udak's going to go. Udak is going to go. Not really trusting Alton, but also not trusting the safety of this place. And with seeing Glenn leaving, he has decided that he is also going to kind of slowly follow suit. Come on, are you guys? I don't know if this is going to be the best place to be here in a minute.
So seeing this Alton, well, what's left of his abomination, pushing now on the worm that still has me.
Yeah, so it's not grappled you technically, and so he's kind of just walking into it from the side with his destroyed arms, like hands, just kind of like bulldozering this thing towards the spectral figure, who is like silently trying to cast these spells right now to try to like, you can see it, its hand is out and like the symbol on its hand is shining and no sound is coming out and no spells are being cast while Alton is pushing this thing towards them.
But it clearly looks like it's trying to stop what he's doing.
Yes, it's moving. It's pushing this thing away from you, this mind flayer worm, and it is pushing it towards the spectral figure.
Sorry, quick retcon. I would have probably swiped those papers as I was backing away slowly, like just a handful of them.
Cool. Sounds good.
Sure. I'll roll for insight. That was the time I needed the dice. Insight. It is a dirty 20.
Hey.
Yes. So you having come from a race of beings that are extremely honorable, and also growing up in a household that was, your father was a paladin who was very devout and very, justice was his whole thing. Like, he followed a code. There's one thing that can be said even about the evil races and people that are evil, is that there is still lawfulness and honor within those creeds, depending on what they actually believe in.
Right.
And you would believe Alton to be a very just and lawful figure. And when he's saying this to you, there is no deception in his voice. There is nothing left of Alton. Alton is barely even there, but they have an idea of what they want to do with the last of their strength, and they are hell-bent on doing that. You don't know what that is, but you can either take the chance to believe them and to do what they say, or not.
All right.
The enemy of my enemy, Cosmo.
What did you say?
The enemy of my enemy. Let's go.
All right. So Cosmo just like backing up away from the worm thing and just says, well, I guess you're about to be out of existence. And he just turns and runs out of the room.
As you say that, it just kind of like looks at you and just goes, as with its tentacles, and it's like kind of wrapping them around Alton at this point and trying to like get him off of them, because like he's basically pushing it from the side and it doesn't have much ability to push him back. And so Alton is just pushing towards a spectral figure. Rangrim, are you also fleeing from the room, or are you staying?
Cosmo is going to grab Rangrim in his enlarged form, because he's standing right next to me. He's just gonna like grab it.
I imagine he kind of picks me up. Like, you ever see like a really fed up dad at a playground like pick up a toddler just like by like the back of their like pants?
Yeah, that's
just yelling at him the whole time.
So this is the moment. Glenn and you and Udak are running down this passageway, getting further away. I assume you're bringing Poe with you, is to not let them have the worst death possible.
Actually, on the contrary, I want Poe to stay until they die so they can tell me what happened.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
So Alton is pushing this worm forward, and you see the spectral form just kind of pointing like pointing at some of these vats and is trying to cast spells on them and is not able to because of this silence spell. And Alton is just pushing this thing forward and consistently just like trudging forward as you all are fleeing from the room. And you see at this last ditch effort, Alton is pushing this worm through these tables and knocking vats to the floor. And there's these like, they look like tiny versions of the Mind Flayer worm that are kind of splashing to the floor and wriggling and falling around on the ground. And then as you are getting out of the doorway, you all are blasted by a extremely powerful version of that psionic wail. As you hear just the loudest of any of the rumbling wails of agony as Alton the Tormented gives his last wail and blasts this chamber apart. The ceiling itself begins to come down and crack, and you see actual lava and magma start falling in through the ceiling, falling onto the spectral form of the Mind Flayer and Alton, and just like you see his form get covered and then just begin to like fall apart and melt as this magma is coming down from the ceiling. And now you all are running as this flood of lava is following you out up through this small chamber in like this kind of actually relatively thick and quickly moving flood. And I assume as you all are getting to the edge of this ledge that you all climbed up onto very precariously earlier, what are you all doing?
As I'm like coming, so I'm just like huge, like moving up the hallway, and I imagine I'm
barely
just, like,
fitting, like
barely just like with my armor, just like scraping and making a Cosmo shape through the hallway. Yeah. I'm just like scooping up Glenn and Udak as I run by them.
Yeah, I love that.
My hero.
And I just like scoop them up, and as I come up on this ledge, I just jump out into the water.
The lava bursts out of the hole behind you as like it fills this chamber completely and just like falls down in the water just around you as you are landing into the water, kind of sprawling, and then everyone's just moving away as this like lava pours down in the water, immediately just turning into stone. And it kind of like fills the chamber and is like pouring down, and I assume you all are trying to make your way back out to the hallway.
Yeah, as he's carrying me, Glenn just like hitting him on the back, like, hurry up, run faster.
It looks like how he's got that horse, Steve.
Yeah. Does that mean you're Steve's giant too?
Well, we can find out.
Giant magic horse, go.
You all get back to the bank, and this place seems very unstable at this point. The ceiling, you can see those like red hot cracks are starting to form in the actual ceiling in the rest of this mine. And then you hear like through the rumbling, you hear this like other slightly less loud, less like deep moving of shifting of stone. And you see the small goblin head and big ogre head poke through as they push one big boulder out from the stone pile that had blocked the exit from the mine, and goes, "Hey, I think we should probably get out of here."
Well, yeah, it's about time you showed up, but better late than never.
I'm sorry, I was going as fast as I can.
Like, likely faster than you talk, but let's go. And Cosmo is just like carrying the whole group.
As it's happening, Glenn's like, that was an excellent compliment.
You're able to push your way through this kind of like boulder pile and make your way through. And like if Dozer, who luckily his specialty along the straps was clearing and moving of rocks and other materials, and luckily you all called them. But they were able to clear a big enough ogre-sized path that you all are able to make your way out of this relatively safely and get to the entrance. You pass by some of the miners and you pass by some other figures that have been not as lucky as you all. There are some other gnolls that are also that seem to have either been knocked out or are dead. But you're all able to make your way to the front door. Are you all just going out of it? They are wide open to the now daylight beaming in from outside.
I would stop at the entrance before like the actual gate leaves. Like, all right, Cosmo, slow down. We're good. We're not running from lava anymore.
As we reach the doorway and kind of feeling like we've hit that safety place, I imagine I probably like set everyone down and everyone gets off as I'm like shrinking.
Dismounts Cosmo.
Dismounts me, yeah, and
Rangram gets off as he dismounts Cosmo.
Yeah, just like everybody is getting off as I just like shrink down the normal back size. As we reach the front door, like what do we see?
you just see daylight streaming in from outside. And actually outside Rangrim, you see your 2 faithful donkeys alongside your cart. Are you all staying inside? Are you heading out? Is there anything you wanted to do before exiting the mine?
Well, I'm ready to go back to the little camp, the Hudak camp.
You all are walking outside of the Ebon Depths, a place that you have probably spent much more time in than you probably would have liked. Walking out of these giant steel doors, this black opaline steel that you now know much more about, with the temple opening that are showing these symbols to Torog, and you're loading back up on the cart and just like collecting yourselves and just taking a breath for the first time in a couple days. And looking back at the front entrance, I think all of you see this. You just see 3 forms. 3 forms that are just spectral and looking at you just inside the entrance to the Ebon Depths. And they're just there for a second, and then they all kind of just like slowly dissolve and just kind of blow away as if they are made of fine mist.
Did we just force ghost the brothers?
You force ghost the brothers.
Heck yeah.
Rangrim, you hear a voice in your head that just says, "Your daughter and the All-Mind await you." And that is where we're going to end the episode tonight.
Boo.
The
that's
All-Mind?
like-
Better than the Red Hand.
That's like 23 episodes in which it all ended with Rangrim being the big bad.